Welcome to the Improve and Have Fun podcast. My name is Paul V. Perez, and on this podcast I work on improving myself while having fun along the way, and I do so by documenting my life and interests. Returning guest Hanna Herbertson on the podcast once again, and I'm not going to go ahead and get into the specifics right here in the beginning because we really delve deep into her story since the last time she's been on the podcast, and that's coming up in a moment. But let's get some housekeeping out of the way first. If you enjoy this episode, please support the podcast by doing any or all of your Amazon shopping, same prices, same deals, by following the link in the description for this video or in the show notes for this episode. You could also leave a tip. There is a tip link where you can donate through the Cash App, through the Zelle app, and copious amounts of ways that you can do that. Or simply leave a comment. I really enjoy engaging with you, talking with you, disagreeing with you, agreeing with you. So please leave a comment either here on this video or at the blog at improveandhavefun.com. Finally, subscribe. I'm going to leave another link to my YouTube channel. And also, you can find this podcast almost everywhere. On Spotify, on Apple, on I think Amazon has its own podcasting thing. You can find it on Google, Improve and Have Fun podcast. So we are everywhere, definitely. I'm going to leave links to Hanna's website, her TikTok, and other social media if you wanted to go ahead and get in contact with her. Let's go ahead and dig in. So what's up, Hanna? How are you feeling today? You told me you were a little sicky poo yesterday. So are you feeling a little better today after some sleep?
Yeah, I got some sleep. Morning swim out on the beach here.
Nice.
I'm in Negril, Jamaica, so I'm just enjoying life.
And how long are you going to be out there for?
For total 2 weeks.
That's great. We did an interview together 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. A lot has changed since in that time.
Yes, they have. I was listening back to it yesterday, and I was like, I got all oof, that was the time.
Going through your social media, doing a little bit of research, you made one post that I even commented on that I think is gonna be the basis of what we're gonna be talking about today. I'm a big fan of James Altucher. He's a writer, and he was always very self-deprecating and very, very honest about himself and his issues. And when I read this post that you made, I felt very much like that, and it attracted me to it. And also, you said some things that even resonated with me. Is it okay if you can read the post?
So which post is it exactly?
The one from December the 12th, the long one, because I think this covers so much.
All right, I'll try to read it. All right, thank you for 20K. 5 years ago, I moved from New York City to Sweden after living in the US for 10 years. I had a lot of fun during my years in New York, but at this point in time, I was drained, depressed, and broke. When it came to my dance career, I felt stuck and didn't feel any joy and excitement anymore. A long relationship had ended, and a few years earlier, I had lost my Swedish mother to cancer. I knew I needed to press pause and reset, and chose to move back to the country where I grew up. Once back in Sweden, I felt like an alien and very uncomfortable in this socially much colder climate. Extremely thankful for old friends and family that came through during this time when I was homeless and needed support. Fast forward 5 years. I can proudly say that I've done it. I've created a new phase of my life plus a new career. Done extensive healing work and has made it a lifestyle to take care of my mind as well as my body. It has been uncomfortable as fuck, but necessary for my survival. I now have new goals and my love for dance has returned. I no longer feel the stress of being on top of my game all the time or chase dance gigs. I'll dance for my own enjoyment and love seeing others win and get their shine. You tell me why a lot of people are gravitating towards my dancing videos now. I'm guessing it's because now I do it from a true and happy place, not a look at me, love me, pick me place anymore. So if you're reading this and are on your way to change your life, keep going. It might take a while. There will be setbacks, but it will be worth it. Know that you are loved and protected, and even when you feel lonely. I'm writing this not because I've reached my final destination or got rich or settling down here for good. This is just the beginning of the next golden era. Party and struggle era. Reset, heal, and rebuild era. I thank you for your teachings. Onwards and upwards we go.
It's beautifully said, definitely. And I just think that so much to unpack there. That basically has happened to me. Like the big things that just from watching you from a distance that have happened in the time since we've last spoken to now. You've taken another trip to Korea and you found out even more details on your birth parents. You moved back to Sweden full time, and it seems like you're thriving. Definitely, I never saw you as like kind of going through a tough time being here, but then like hearing that, and seeing like, wow, as always with everybody, there's always more stuff going on than what one presents. You know what I'm saying? Especially with social media. Yeah, let's get into some of that. You went the one time and then you went again to Korea. What was the motivation for doing so?
Well, yeah, I've been there like 3 times now. So it's been, the urge of finding out where I'm from and finding my roots. I've been, growing stronger, and also like me learning about this dirty industry that's called adoption. It has, changed my way of thinking about my situation and other people's situation that's been through this. And we all have our, we have our similarities, but also our unique experiences, like growing up in Sweden or being an adoptee and growing up in the US is it's a big difference, but still, it brings us together as a community. So it's been a journey in itself, and I found out a lot more things than I knew from the beginning. And actually this year, my birth mother contacted the organization that I've been working with, and she spoke to them briefly that she didn't want any contact with me. So that was like, all right, a chapter that was closed in a way, but I know that she's alive. And she knows about me. Like, I wrote a letter in English and they translated it to Korean, so she knows a bit more about me and about my life. It's been a process, this whole thing, just accepting the fact that that doesn't have anything to do with me, just in general, like, the living, like, right. So just because someone makes a decision, it's not because of you, it's because of them and what they're going through. So I know she's going through a lot, and she's been going through a lot. So we'll see. Maybe she reaches out in the future. Maybe she won't, but that's up to her. Like, I can't really do anything right now.
That's well said. That's well said. Let me tell you, before the pandemic, about 3 years, I was going to therapy, and I would talk about it publicly. I just think, and just you're talking about it, when I was going to therapy, it was me dealing with a lot of issues with my mom, anger at my mom, and also just feeling like I couldn't, like she was always right, and she made me feel that way. And there was like definitely some manipulation in there as well on both sides. So, and I was just really angry about that. But kind of coming to terms with our parents and or the idea of our parents or what they should be, living one's life, like kind of like, make your own rules. You don't have to go the same way your parents did. It could be very tough, definitely. So I sympathize with indirectly. I sympathize. I have not been in your situation, but indirectly just sympathizing with, like, what are my parents doing, or like, kind of, am I like my parents? I want to get to know them more. I want to care for them more. But like you said, they're on their own journeys. You know what I'm saying? And we're on our own. So that's well said, definitely. And take me back, Hanna. So this is after we spoke, and like I said, you went to Korea and everything. And another cool thing, like on your YouTube page, you definitely even taught dance hall out there, which is super cool. But just like switching gears, like you said in the post, a relationship ended. You moved back to Sweden, and you were homeless when you came back to Sweden. Like, I thought like you had like family and stuff like that. Tell me about that.
Well, my family, they live on an island outside of Sweden called Gotland, and it's really small. So I didn't want to move there because there's nothing else to do there on that island. When I came to Stockholm now, some friends of mine, they opened up their home. They're like, we have a spare room, like, come and stay while you're looking for something. Very thankful for that. It was not, maybe I wasn't gonna live on the street, but still I didn't know where I was gonna stay really. So that came out of like a blessing. And yeah, now I have a place on my own.
You went back there, and like, how long did it take for you to kind of to get settled into your own place? And what do you do for work out there?
Well, as I said in the last interview, I did a lot of waitressing gigs as, like, something steady coming in. So I did that also in Sweden for a while, because it took like a good 6 months to just getting to the flow of things and figure out the next move. So yeah, I did waitressing again, which felt like I'm back doing the same shit, But okay, I was at least like getting some time. Like, in Sweden, it's a bit more slow paced. So I could take time to take nature walks and be like, all right, what do I really want to do next? Because I knew I didn't want to do the same thing. I didn't want to go back to just teaching dance, but I was like, I want something new, and was already working in marketing. So I was looking at educations, taking courses within marketing. So that's what I did. I started that up after almost a year in Sweden. So it's called digital strategy. So it's kind of like you're overseeing a lot of the elements that's included in marketing. So everything from like search engine optimization to like psychology and a lot of different things. So it was just good to get into the scene in Sweden within marketing and make some new connections, meet new people. So that's what I did the first years. So I went to school, did some marketing for people on the side here and there, but I knew I wanted to level up and work with bigger brands. So that's why I felt like, okay, I need maybe this course now so I can take that step. And then I did my internship in Nigeria, which
another big thing that happened. Yeah, your trip to Nigeria, and I mean, continue, please.
Yeah, I got the opportunity because I have a friend that knows a lot of people there. So she's like, oh, you should come here and do your internship at a marketing agency. I'm like, yeah, yes, I should. So I spent 3 months in Lagos, which is, I just have to explain, if you combine the hustle of New York and the hustle of Jamaica times 100, you get the hustle of Lagos. It's serious. You got to know what you're doing there because it's 20 million people in one city. The traffic is crazy. And at the same time, there's, huge entrepreneurial drive, and the music and the dancing is amazing. So I really, from being in Sweden for a while, I was really like thrown into this crazy city, and I felt like I was given so much like inspiration. So after a while there, I was like, okay, I want to move to Lagos now. So I was trying to get the right connections, but it was really tough because I didn't have that much like corporate experience. I had to step back after a while, like, all right, I have to maybe look somewhere else so I can maybe go around and then come back to Nigeria like later, like in a few years or something. And that's also when COVID hit, so I was forced to stay in Sweden. And then, so it was in January 2020, I started like working part-time for this burger company. And they didn't have a TikTok channel, and TikTok was like bubbling. I really enjoyed the channel, so I was like, you need to get on TikTok. So they gave me like a free, like, yeah, go ahead, Hannah, like do whatever you want with our TikTok. I'm like, all right. And I knew the brand already pretty well, so it's called Baba's Burgers. It's like a Swedish burger chain. Yeah, and the audience is like the young urban crowd. So it's a scene I like. It's like the hip hop crowd and the multi-ethnical crowd. So it was like perfect because that's where I was already moving there. So it worked out really well, and that channel really like grew a lot. And then I started getting other clients, and so it was really like the thing that set off. Like I knew I had the capacity to do it, but now I could really prove myself. Like, look at what I've done now. No one can mess with me now, because before that, people in Sweden are kind of like, oh well, like, we didn't go to this school. Like, you haven't worked at these companies yet. Like, even though I had 10 years abroad, like that didn't really count. Sweden, they're like, well, if you don't work with the right people there, then it's hard to get into the scene. So now I could really prove myself. Okay, then I can do this, And since then, it's just been escalating, and now I'm about to start working with this huge global brand. So I'm very excited for that, and it's all mostly like TikTok work. So it's been I thank TikTok for creating this platform.
That's so much to unpack there. And it's so inspiring too. I asked you on the last podcast, like, what would your older self ask, which is a favorite question. I love asking. I got it from another podcaster. Like, what would your older self ask your younger self? And your advice was like, just if you want to go do something, kind of go out and get it. And at your young age, like, you've done so much and have traveled to so many places. Somebody maybe like myself, I'm older and I've decided to stay in one place and work, and I live in comfort. I got some money in the bank and I'm happy about that. But I have not traveled as much, and I don't want to wait until I'm old and gray to travel. I want to take dance trips and stuff. But you've done so much. I just really feel like when you get older, you're not going to have regrets of like, man, I didn't do this, or I didn't go here, or I didn't try to live over here. You've done it, and I think that's super inspiring for somebody who's done the complete opposite. That's very, very inspiring, you know. And you make your living now through this marketing gig, yes?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, thank you. Stop working at restaurants maybe like a year ago now.
Wow. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Like I work with restaurants as my marketing clients now. I use the knowledge and everything I learned working in restaurants. So I'm still thankful for it, but I'm also happy that I'm not on the floor anymore.
No, it's amazing. Like I said, and I just think hearing your story sincerely, as always, it's called the Improve and Have Fun podcast. We want to improve. We want to have fun while we're doing so. And sometimes when we're working and doing shit jobs, things that we don't want to do, it's not so fun. But there's something that you did years ago in terms of marketing. Like you planted a seed where I left that because I couldn't, just do that at the moment. But that has come back, and now you're making your living from it. I find that a lot with myself as well. It's like you put a seed somewhere of something that interested you, and you got to drop it for a while, but then later you kind of come back to it and you go full on with it, and you reap the benefits of it. That's
Yeah.
really, really cool. You have become like a viral sensation now with TikTok. You mentioned you making videos. As you mentioned in the post, you're not making videos. I mean, you're doing it for work as well on one side with your marketing, but then you do dance videos because you, like me, and our connection, even from the very beginning, we just like to dance. And hearing that, one of the other things that resonated, I'm looking at the screen because I have the post here, your Instagram post, I have it on the screen here. It's inspiring to me because even when I met you to take your classes, my thing is always, I didn't grow up like taking dance classes. My parents never put me in dance classes, and I'm okay with that. Dance to me came from, of course, wanting to get attention, but secondly, because I love it. You know what I'm saying? I still do it to this very day. Reading what you wrote there, that now you're dancing because you love it. And what that tells me is that even when you're old and gray, you're going to be dancing. As long as you're physically able to, you're going to be dancing, which I love that. How does it feel that seeds that were planted early in terms of dance and with marketing are now coming together, and it's something that you're doing a combination of this thing that you enjoy? Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, I have to pinch myself sometimes now because I'm like, all right, so I guess it was like I was meant to go extreme ways. Like really, I was, so much in the dance, and but then I felt like, all right, I was just like beating my head against the wall. Okay, so but then finally I realized, okay, I need to pivot. So I guess it's learning when to pivot, and that doesn't mean that you're giving up or don't beat yourself up because maybe you didn't achieve that goal that you were like had during that time. And I'm still, it's still, and I have more kind of like people advising me these days. Like I don't have like one mentor, but I've surrounded myself with people that can like make me see things from different perspectives. Sometimes when you're in your zone, you kind of get blind. Like you don't see I can actually do this instead of this right now. So I guess there's several lessons here. Learn when to pivot, but also be open to get advice from people. But don't take just anyone's advice, because you don't want to be just running around like, oh, this person said that, so I have to do that. But yeah, yeah, there's so much going on. But I'm also thankful now to have so much like in my backpack, because that's what makes me stand out among other marketers in Sweden, for example. Is okay, I've done all this. I have skills. I can do like music editing. I can do choreography, and for example now TikTok. That all comes together in a very good way. So it's a nice skill set to have.
Yeah, no, like you said, it's all coming together on TikTok now. And
Yeah,
what advice would you have for someone who how many followers are you on TikTok right now?
bit over 130K.
Which is crazy. What advice would you have to someone who wants to grow their TikTok following? Because, I noticed I don't follow you on every social media, but I know on YouTube you haven't messed around too much with YouTube. Maybe it's on some shorts, but you do post a lot on Instagram, but your main thing is TikTok. What advice do you have to someone who wants to grow their following as a marketing guru? How do you, how do you, yeah, what advice do you have for someone who wants to grow their following on TikTok?
But maybe it's gonna sound cliche, but like be yourself to the fullest and don't show the thing that you want to promote right away. Because TikTok is a lot about like maybe it's about promotion, but it's also how to make it look like it's not promotion. Maybe if you want to promote this product, but instead of talking about this product, just like kind of show what you're doing on the side, or like if you're you don't have to be funny. Like not everyone has to be like a comedy person on TikTok. Like you can be serious and talk about serious issues. and you can have that product in the background, or like it. So it's kind of like, don't focus too much on maybe what you're selling or that one thing. Yes, I'm dancing there, but it's also like dancing is not my main thing. That I'm not selling dance classes right now, but people are asking for it now. So I'm like, all right, maybe I should start again. So like, try different things, show your different interests, and then sooner or later, like, something is gonna lock in, and people will be like, oh, we find this interesting with this person, and it might not be the thing that you thought it was gonna be your main thing from the beginning. So at least that's what I would recommend. I mean, of course, if you're a videographer and you want to promote your videographer work, then yeah, you should focus on that, I guess. But don't be scared also to make people see other parts of your life. And it's not the matter of that you have to talk about super personal things. You don't have to show everything in your life. You don't have to show your kids. You don't have to show skin. You know, you choose yourself what you want to put out there on social media. But also taking a chance and pushing yourself, it's gonna, like, people are gonna feel that more, and then they're gonna gravitate to what you're doing.
I've had that advice kind of given to me. Throw a lot at the wall, see what sticks, and kind of stay on that same vein if it's having success. I just don't like doing that because I think I'll just get bored of something.
Mm-hmm.
When I do a dance video, like, the people who follow me are coworkers and other dancer people. So those videos, they tend to like get a little bit more traction than maybe a movie review or like my thoughts in a book that I read or weird stories, which I love doing all that stuff. But I just can't, like, personally, in order for me to continue doing something for years, which is what I want to do with this podcast and my videos and everything, I just want to do it on the things that interest me. Even if one video there's a dud and then another one blows up. So that's a little tough for me personally. That's like just to kind of focus. But I do know that business-wise, marketing-wise, that would you agree with that? Like, it's good to throw stuff at the wall. Like you said, actually, you said it in a way. Throw stuff at the wall and then kind of stick with the thing that's getting the most traction, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, myself, I'm not sticking to what gets me the most traction either. So my numbers are up and down. That's the thing. Like, don't stare yourself blind at numbers, because sometimes the algorithm just doesn't let stuff through, even though it's like good stuff, you know? So I guess that's also like, if you know like what your goals are coming up, like, don't stare yourself blind at like, all right now, like, I'm not getting traction, but you know, if you keep doing it, that it's gonna get traction sooner or later. And I also I like to do, like, you doing different like movie reviews, to do like, you talk about personal stuff, then you don't talk about, like, you do different things, and that's fine too. Like, not everyone has to be, you know, like, super niched.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I just think life is not one way. Life is like a bunch of different things. It makes things more interesting. You were talking about Lagos, and, you know, the pandemic was still, well, hopefully coming out of it, and we are. I definitely think we are. Is getting back there to like kind of live for a while and like do a marketing business out there. Is that still the goal currently?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my goals, definitely, to spend some more time there. You know, I'm doing a lot of content creation right now for companies, but I also want to like kind of steer away from that and be more of like the person behind the scene, like doing more strategy work and figuring out what the target segments, like what do the people like, the people that gonna buy your product, like, who are they really, what do they like in general, what are their goals, what are their like struggles in life. I like things like that, to get to know, you know, like the psychology behind everything and what makes people tick. That's basically what I enjoy. And also, you know, I'm not in this to, my goal is not to, I'm gonna just sell things. You know, it's more like, what I'm doing right now when I'm creating content, I want to diversify, like, show different people with, you know, different backgrounds in my videos, and, you know, show different perspectives. So that's been like a driving force for me, and it will always be, since I'm also a product of this. Like, I'm a Korean girl doing dance hall, and I think that's also what's getting me viral a bit now. Like, people get surprised, like, oh, she's like, she looks like she knows what she's doing, and, you know, and I want to make that, because I know there's more people like me, or like, everyone has their own interests. So I want to put that out there more. That's, you know, we're not just because we're from this place or we're this age means that we're all the same. We all have our unique talents.
I love that because you've been dancing even from the last interview, which was, like I said, 5.5 years ago. At that point, you already been teaching dance hall and in New York for a 10-year period. And there's that iceberg metaphor, right? Like, all these people are noticing you now for dancing dance hall now. I mean, they know who you are. I know who you are, and a lot of people know who you are. But now this TikTok world, which is bigger, is noticing you now. But you've like been doing all this groundwork all these other years previously. So it's like the tip of the iceberg that comes out of the ocean when they don't see the whole like mountain that's underneath
Right.
the sea kind of situation, which I think is
Yeah.
very cool. And like I was saying earlier before, the same author I was talking about, his name is James Altucher, who, like I said, reading your thing reminded me of him. There's a thing that he has, an idea. He calls it idea sex, where it's two interests that come together and they form this brand new thing. And that's what's happening now with marketing and TikTok and dancing for you. Am I right or wrong in saying that?
Yeah. I got him out. He sounds like a smart guy, that guy.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
fantastic. Like I said, James Altucher, look him up. He's on this podcast. I've quoted him often. I've read his books for years. He's fantastic. He has a podcast and everything. A very interesting guy, for sure. Very interesting guy. But Hannah, somebody who's looking up to you, and now I'm not going to ask you the 5 year, like what would you ask your younger self, but somebody who's looking up to you, whether they be in Korea because you look like them, and they're like, man, I want to do what she's doing, or like somebody who's even older and just sees you dancing on TikTok and is like motivated by you. Like, what do you want to say to these folks? Or like, if they want to aspire to be like you, what would you want to say to them?
Well, aspire to be yourselves. I mean, if I can inspire and give people some energy, that's amazing. But myself, I've never really had anyone to look up to, like, or I had my musical idols. Maybe I want to be like Janet Jackson, or like, But for me, like, I never had anyone, like that really looked like me or had the same interests. I'm happy that some people like DM me now, like, oh, I'm also like Asian. I grew up in this setting, and I had similar interests, and that's amazing. Like, they're like, oh, now I know there's more than me out there, and even if like also people of all kinds of backgrounds, like they contact me and like give me so much positive feedback. So keep doing what you're doing, because if you're giving out positive energy, you're gonna get it back. It's just actually true. Because I've been receiving it so much lately, and hopefully that's what I'm like. If I can give some of this back that I've received myself. So I guess the main advice there is like to give without expecting anything back, because that's when you're gonna get it back, and it might not come right away. So be patient. I'm also working on my patience. It's always a work in progress. Like, when you least expect it, it's gonna come back to you. Keep giving out positivity, like you're doing as well. Like, you've been doing it for years. I saw you in the dance hall somewhere in Brooklyn, maybe, and then I was like, right, this guy, like he radiates nice energy. So it's all gonna come back to us, like one way or another.
Well said. Well said. And the Hannah, like you growing up as parents of immigrants and working still to this day amongst immigrants and jobs and just like living in the hood and just growing up in it, you remind me, and this is something Gary Vee talks about. Like, you just kind of remind me of like this immigrant energy that I've witnessed and I've experienced, like living here in the Northeast and growing up in these areas. Like, nothing's gonna stop you. If you got a waitress for years to go ahead and get to the next level, you're gonna do so. You're not gonna go hungry. You're not gonna be roaming the streets. You're always gonna find a way. And whether it be in this country, in Europe, in Africa, like, you always find a way. And I think that as a whole, your story that I know of it is just very inspiring, and it actually it makes me feel good that people are reaching out to you and being like, like, even like folks that look like that, they look like you, they feel like can relate to you, and even other nationalities that, if you're doing it, I can do it. And folks, I'm gonna link to the previous interview that we did, also to Hannah's social media and everything. This young woman, she has come from being adopted to being in another country to travel to this country, and now she's traveling in Jamaica. So she's gone to Lagos. This woman has no fear. She's done so much, and nothing stops her. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just wanted to give you a shout out for that. I think that's very inspiring in itself. And I think anyone can look at you and be like, dude, if she can do it, why can't I do it? You know what I mean? Especially people who are close to you or next to you.
Thank you so much. One thing I have to mention also, that I've myself been working on lately. It's like, right, yes, go for your passion, go for what you love, but also think about the economics of the whole thing. Because for years and years, I was ignoring the money. I was like, I'm doing it for the love. I feel like the new generation are more money savvy, at least like I've been, like with the whole crypto and everything. It's a balance, right? Don't get obsessed with money, but also be smart with it, right? Be creative, but also think about, right? So how is this gonna make me money, and are you putting away money for your pension? Like, I'm 40 now, so I'm like, great, finally I'm, I'm thinking a bit more about the future and not just living for the next like 6 weeks ahead. That's also a big like advice I want to give people to think about. Okay, where do you want to be, and how are you going to be there with your financial stability in the future? Yeah.
No, you're adulting now. You're definitely adulting now. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's true though. It's true though, because sometimes when we're younger, we're in our 20s and 30s. I know, especially with me, you're just thinking, it's funny. And like I said, maybe these are just reflections. Like I'm 46, I'm almost reaching 50 myself. So it's a reflection of like, sometimes when we're in our 20s and even in our 30s, sometimes even in our 40s, we have some childhood things that we still bring with us that just don't serve us anymore, whether that be with
Right.
food that we eat or behaviors. And I just really think about that. Like this, like still this like 10-year-old kid that you still hanging around with, that still walks with you, that, like I said, that you still do some of those mannerisms. And it's not all bad. Like I said, just the things that are interest. No, if you have interest, like from when you were kids and now, you still continue them, and you really enjoy them, and you're making content of them, and you're doing all this kinds of stuff with it, that's wonderful. But if it's like you're still eating pizza every other day, you're not saving your money, or you just think like you could just sit all day and you're gonna be healthy. Yeah, those are those are kid. That's like childlike thinking for sure. As you get an adult, as you grow to an adult, you gotta, like Hannah was saying, think about your savings. At this 40-year point, like we have another, maybe Lord willing, 40 to 50 years if we're lucky of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's make the next 40, 50 years dope, and not just be on the struggle bus again for the next 40. You know what I'm saying? Like we were maybe for the first 40, the first half. But yeah, that's well said. That's well said. But Hannah, we're gonna close it up because I think we got everything here. You know what I'm saying? Is there anything that you wanted to say in closing?
I just want to say thank you again for keeping the link and having me on the show again. I love what you're doing. Yeah, like if anyone out there is like feeling what I'm talking about, don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions, if you want to learn some moves, watch PvP. And I hope to see you in New York this summer. Hopefully we can dance together again.
Absolutely. And I'm going to leave links to all of Hannah's social media, and ways to contact her, And Hannah, you've always been an inspiration. And the more I get to speak to you, it just confirms that for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I ever have any doubts of like, I want to do something, I can think about you. I mean, there's a bunch of people I can think about, but you are definitely one of those people. Like, if she can do it, dude, come on, get up off your ass and go do it. You know what I'm saying? So, this humongous shout out to you, and I think we'll be friends for a long time, and we're gonna do this again, maybe in 5 years or less. Or we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see where you are at that time, of course.
Yeah, and where you are too. Like we're all like on our journeys, right? We're moving.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you're awesome. And that's it. We're out. Peace.
Yeah, peace. Bye, 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 bye.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I will catch you on the next one.